better looking, better feeling, more stability. What if I was able to offer you all of those things? Lab Golf cooked again. This week at the market, am I fucking stupid? This week at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, we got our first look at the Lab Golf Oz 1i HS. Going out on a crazy limb here, I'm gonna say HS stands for heel shafted. Now, since I can't bribe Sam Hahn for information on this putter, we're going to have to speculate. The first thing you're going to notice about this putter is we do have an interchangeable huzzle. Now, some people might think this is for different offsets or toe hangs. No way. If you change where the shaft axis is in alignment with the center of gravity, you are no longer making this a zero torque putter. With that being said, I am nearly 100% sure it is going to be for varying lean amounts. As a matter of fact, I overlaid these two putters and that's exactly what we got. Now, changing the lean amount also messes with the torque as well. So there's probably some sort of formula they have figured out with the weights to get it back to zero torque. Moving on to the shape, on the current Oz 1, we have a relatively thick top line, and then on this new one, it's a pretty thin top line, and then it actually steps down twice as it moves into the cavity. Me personally, I do not like very thin top lines. I think that is one of the biggest problems with the Link 1. Because it is so thin, the alignment aids look insanely small. That being said, there are some things I really like about this new HS. First off, the way this is very squared off in the middle, and the fact that it's kind of long and runs the length of the cavity, it sort of gives the illusion of like a tailor-made true path alignment system. It's also very square up into here, which I think adds a nice visual cue. Versus on the current Oz 1, it's very triangular up here, and I don't think it adds anything visually from an alignment perspective. The only issue I foresee, and this is something I've thought about a lot, is when you get into these putters where it steps down and you use a longer alignment line, it sort of warps perception of the alignment. As you can see, if you do not solve this thing perfectly in terms of the lie angle, these lines don't match up. And at the end of the day, you want them to match up because it means you have the putter sold the same every single time, but it's one of those things where you get into a tournament and it's just annoying. You don't really want to be thinking about trying to match up those lines. Moving on to stability, and this is really with any putter where the shaft inserts into the middle of the head, it really feels like on center strikes you're hitting it off of the shaft and it just doesn't feel that stable. And then if you miss it slightly heel or toe, it feels like you get very aggressive twisting. Now, to be fair, the Oz is actually not the best example of this because it has a ton of weight in the heel and toe, and any putter with lots of heel and toe weighting, you don't really feel it that badly at all. But here's a good example of what I mean. This is a ping putter where the shaft inserts that I've used, and if you miss this thing slightly heel or toe, it is literally horrendous. But nonetheless, looking at this new one and the fact the shaft goes into a huzzle and not straight into the head, I have a really good feeling this is going to feel even more stable on center strikes, but more specifically the miss strikes. The coolest thing about the new HS though is the fact that we are very likely going to be getting interchangeable faces. The current Oz 1 does not have screws for the face. Now, who knows what they will be, but my guess is you're going to have something like a deep mill, a mid mill, a smooth face, and then possibly different materials as well, which is going to be sick. One more thing I'll add visually is any alignment aids that run the length of the putter are not going to have any sort of interference with the shaft like you have in the current one. I also personally love the way that a huzzle frames the golf ball. The only thing is I think this cavity is a little bit busy, so I'm kind of curious to hear what you guys think of that.